Visual and audio is clear?
Yes, sir.
Great, great, thanks. So what we have done till our last slide, that was till day 14. This is going to be day 15, the last day for today. And for the last day, I have kept some important topics with applications of those topics so that you will have an insight about what we have learned is totally related to the actual application in the real world. So I will start to do similarities and dissimilarities of electric and magnetic forces. Then what will happen to magnetic force on current carrying elements, then magnetic force and talks of current loops, and finally the application, which is galvanometer, electric motors, and railguns. Railgun is very interesting concept because this is will be used in coming future to launch spacecrafts, or you call it as some extraterrestrial object outside the space without actually dealing with satellite launch vehicle. So this is very interesting. I hope it finds very interesting all. So electric force acts in the direction of electric field. That is what you know from our concept of electrostatics. Electric field is non-zero even though velocity is zero. So what I say, if the charge is stationary, then also there will be some sort of electric field and there will be some sort of force on that particular charge because of electric field. Contrary to this, in case of magnetic field, force acts perpendicular to magnetic field. And if velocity is zero, then the force exerted on that particular object which have a particular charge will be zero. So that is very fundamental difference. Even though charge is stationary, then also there will be some amount of force due to electric field. But if charge is stationary in case of magnetic field, there will be no force exerted on that particular charge. Generally, most of the objects are in relative motion. That can be explained from the theory of relativity, which was given by Einstein. So he says everything is in relative motion. If charge is in relative motion, even though there will be some amount of force. But considering the fact that most of the objects are stationary, as far as we look into, then we can consider this, that charge is stationary, and because of stationary charge, there will be zero force on that charge because of uniform magnetic field. So that is very fundamental difference between electric and magnetic forces. Electric force works in displacing a charged particle. So suppose a charged particle is moved from one point to another point, then we have some work done to it. As you can see, force equals to QE. Force is in the direction of electric field, and the work done is FD. That F is the force, D is the displacement. That is what in case of electric forces or electrostatics we know. But in case of magnetic force, there is no work done in displacing a charged particle. So if a charged particle is moved from one point to another point, then there is no work done it. Why it is? Because this is the cross product, and cross product we have got at sine theta, this is 90 degree, and 90 degree will give you 0. That's why in case of magnetic field, magnetic force, no net work is done in displacing a charge from one point to another. In case of electric force, of course, there is some amount of work done to displace an object from one point to another. The left and right hand coordinate system, you all know, I won't repeat it much, but you know this is what right hand rule is. We have I, J, K. So this is the order we must follow. And depending upon this, we can say force is upward, velocity is in this direction, and K direction we have magnetic. So that is very simple. I hope everyone knows about it. So this is a right hand coordinate system. As you can see, Y is in vertical, X is in horizontal, and Z is coming out from your screen. So this is your right-handed coordinate system, but this is not. Please remember, Y cannot be in this particular direction. So it's very simple. We have to follow one orientation. After all, if you follow this orientation, that is also correct. But for all calculations, you must remember which particular combination you use. So we know force equals to QV into D. The sign is very important. because sign will give you a vector orientation. So we can simply write it as QVB sine theta. In this case, direction you have to determine by using either right hand rule or left hand. So that is all you must know about the force. So we have this formula of R, where R is the radius of the circular path traced by a charged particle moving in a uniform magnetic field, which have a certain mass m. So this formula we have already done derivation for. I won't think there will be anything much to be discussed about it. Right? So that was the thing what we have done. Now you know what is the difference between electric fields and magnetic fields, what is the work done, what is the force experienced, in which direction force is experienced, and vice versa. Now let us try to understand what type of impact will a magnetic force have on an object which is carrying some amount of current. A current can be carried by a large conductor, by a small segment of conductor, by a wire, by a planar object, and vice versa. But in our examples, I will be considering wires which are very, very thin or which have zero thickness, and they are circular in diameter. That is what my consideration is. So let us see what will be our mathematical analysis of magnetic force on currents and current carrying wires. So this is what magnetic force on a single charge particle is. So let us try to describe the geometry first. I have a cylindrical wire. So you know magnetic force on single charge particle is QV into B, where Q is charge, V is velocity, and B is uniform magnetic field. Number of charge, if you consider a wire, number of charge will be L. L is the length of this wire. A is the area of this wire, and N is the number of electrons in that particular wire. The total force on all charge carriers will be LA, that is the volume. N is the number of charges. Q is the charge. V is the velocity by which they are in motion, into B, which is the magnetic field in which this particular wire is kept. If I write it L into A is nothing but NQV. NQV is nothing but J, which is current density. So I can write it as IL. Current density into area will be given as current. So current L into B. L is the length of the wire and B is the uniform magnetic field in which this particular conductor is kept. So the total force on a particular wire which has a particular length is nothing but current into length into B, where we have to define the direction of length. So we are talking about length in this direction. I is the current. Current direction is defined by the motion of electrons in that particular direction. It is opposite to the motion of electrons. B is your magnetic field. So we have to just make sure that when we do such type of calculation for magnetic force on current carrying element, we generally recommend that the vector of the length lies in the direction of current. So if I'm saying that this vector is in this particular direction, then the current direction should be in this particular direction. It should not be anti-direction of length. So force will be equivalent to current into length into magnetic. So this is the magnetic force which will be exerted when a particular wire carrying some amount of current I is placed in a uniform magnetic field, which is P. So we have another formula. In case of a single charge, the formula is F equals to Q V into B, where Q is charge, V is velocity of the charge, and B is magnetic. But suppose if I have an element carrying current, then the force equals to current into length of that wire, which is kept in the magnetic field, and the cross product with magnetic field, in which that particular wire is kept. So now we have two definitions. One is magnetic force on current carrying wire. Another is magnetic force on a single charge wire. So now let us try to understand what will happen to these charges So this is one understanding. If I have a straight wire, so I have given you a straight wire. This is my straight wire. Current is in this direction. Length is in also in this direction. I have already mentioned that current and length should be in the same direction. Magnetic field is perpendicular to this. So they are going inside that. Then the direction of force will be in this particular direction. As you can see, direction of force is going to be perpendicular to the length of the wire. So what will be the total magnetic force? It will be equivalent to I into L into B. I is a constant because current will be uniform. L is the length of the wire. Please remember, I am considering the length which is actually lying inside the magnetic field. I am not considering the length which is outside of this magnetic field. So force will be equivalent to IL into cross B. L cross B, here the angle will be 90 degree, that's why sine 90 is going to be 1. So this will be the highest force felt when this condition prevails in a particular system. So I take a single wire, I keep it perpendicular to the magnetic field, then the force will also be magnetic. In this condition, we will have maximum amount of force felt by that object because of magnetic. Now suppose if wire is not straight. In the previous example, I have said you that wire is straight. So we can directly calculate, as you know, that equals to IL into B. L into B we can find out. But in case wire is not straight, and under such circumstances, we need to find out force on small element, and then we can integrate across the entire wire. So let us see how to do it. As we have done for majority of the cases, I take a small segment delta S or ds, and I take a small force exerted on that. Current will be I passing through that wire. So I can write small amount of force df over here, because a small edge segment ds will be given by dfi ds into b. And force, direction of force, you can find out from right hand rule. The direction of force will be perpendicular in this direction. So I can write force is integration of df. So I can simply integrate it, and you can find out the entire force over the wire. So integration is very simple. You can integrate from this point to this point, and you can find out what will be the amount of force on this magnetic force on this wire which have current over it. So that is what the part of mathematics. I don't think much of classic mathematics is required. It is simple integration. You can do this by yourself. Now I will give you an example then how to find out what will be the actual amount of force exerted on a wire which is in this particular problem state. So I have defined your axis y and x. So we have a wire which has a current I. Please remember direction of current is this. So I have a current I going through this wire. This is that wire which is thin wire. It doesn't have any cross-sectional area. This is standard physics wire. I have magnetic field which is going into the screen. R is the radius of this particular region. So we need to find out what is the net magnetic force on this wire. So we have to find out what will be the overall force on this particular wire. For finding this, one way is you take a small segment, find out small force on that segment, and integrate across the wire, then you will get the overall amount of force over that wire. That is one way. Another way is you can discretize the entire geometry into small segments. For example, first segment you can take it for this length, second segment you can take for this length, and the third segment you can consider for this curved area, that is half circle. So I can discretize this geometry into 3 parts. I can find force on each part, and then I sum up all forces you will get the net amount of force on this particular wire. So let us see, I will try to solve it step by step so that you can understand what consideration we have to do it. So there is no magnetic force on the portion of the wire outside the magnetic field region, and that is very true because we always consider the force in the region where we have magnetic field. So this is the box in which we have magnetic field. So let us try to do it one by one. So this is the scenario now. We have a wire which has three segments: length at the positive side, length at the negative side, and r, which is the radius of the circle. Right. So straight sections, there are two straight sections, first and second, in positive y direction. So let us consider this is the y direction. Okay. What will be force? Force will be IL into B, where I is current, L is the length, and B is the magnetic field. Where the force is going to be, it will be upward in positive y direction. That is our axis, it says. So magnetic field will be like this, length is like this, so force is going to upward. Now we can say L is perpendicular to B, so F1 and F2 will be same, and that will be equivalent to IL into B, because sine 90 becomes 1. So force 1 and force 2, because of two straight segments, will be ILB. Right. What about semicircular section? This is our semicircular section. We need to find out force. For doing this, what we can do, we can consider a small segment ds, and that small segment ds will feel small amount of force df, and df sustains some angle phi. So this is the angle phi which it sustains with respect to this axis, and small variation is from phi to phi plus d phi. Phi and theta are different because theta we have already calculated when we talk about angle between curved surface and magnetic field. So I have considered phi over here. So for a small amount of segment, the force will be I ds into d. ds is the small that. So what we will do, ds and d are perpendicular. So we have angle as 90 degrees. So small amount of theta.
Start coming.
Yeah, just give me a couple of minutes. So my voice is coming right now?
Yes, sir.
Right. So there is a shutdown in Goa and now generator started. So I hope now things should be fine.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So
Thank you,
because
sir.
of Corona, we all are facing many difficulties. But luckily, we have our generators. It is working fine now. There shouldn't be an issue.
Nice, sir. Very nice. Thank you,
So
sir.
I will continue with this. Right. So the amount of force which will be felt by this small segment will be dF, which will be equivalent to I, that is the current. ds is the small segment of the arc, and B is the uniform magnetic field. And ds is the arc, which will be equivalent to R into d phi, because d phi is the angle sustained by this. So finally, I can write it as df equals to IR d phi into d. So there will be
Sir, again same issue.
who is the host now. Again, the same issue I'm facing. So again, Mohammad Jishan is host, and I was logged out.
Host
Again.
will be
So, host, please give me access so that I can share the screen. Today, because of this shutdown, we have an issue in internet also. So that's why it's not stable right now.
Mohammad Jishan is the host.
Yeah, Mohammad Jishan is the host, but if he is listening, then please give me the access. Otherwise, again, I have to call to Madhurima and she will give me the access.
I think so Mohammad Jishan is not online.
Yeah, he's not online. He captured things and then it comes like this.
He is happy to become host.
I think when we log out now, it automatically gives someone as the host. The next possible candidate, they will give the host access. So again, I will talk to Madhurima what she says.
Can it possible to restart?
Yeah.
Can possible to restart this session?
We can restart the session, but the problem is we need the access, and today is the last date, so I don't want to extend it. I have some other commitments, I have some other meetings scheduled. Okay. So I will talk with Madhurima what she says. Yeah, Madhurima, again I logged out and someone else became the host and he's not able to give me access. So please give me access now. Yeah. Yeah, please do it, yeah, because today is the last day and I don't want to have these issues. Yeah, please go ahead. So Madhurima is coming in, she will give me access and then I will start the presentation. In last 14 days, this type of issues were not there, but I don't know why on the last day this type of issues are taking place.
Sir, Corona cases also increases.
Yeah, yesterday there were 45 or 48,000 cases.
50,000 approx.
50,000 like that.
Yeah, and 1,200 deaths are.
So what are the in Indore condition is fine? Indore and Bhopal?
Sir, Bhopal is totally locked down. Gwalior is totally locked down. Ujjain is totally locked down. Indore may be from 28. I think.
Okay.
Yes.
It's terrible
Because
situation, yeah. Day by day.
both are there. No?
Correct. Anyways, I got the host access, so I will share my screen. I hope my screen is visible with audio and video both.
Yes, sir.
Yes, great. So, okay. So we were at this point and we were about to find out the force on the curved surface. We have discretized the geometry into small segments. So we can just find out the force by integrating it with respect to 0 to pi, because this is 0 to 180 degrees. So we can integrate it and we can find out the overall force, that is 1 IRB 0 to phi of sine phi. So I can write it after integration that Fy is going to be 2 IRB, where I is the current, R is the radius of the sphere, and B is the magnetic field. So we have Y component, right? And what about the X component? Actually, X component, from the symmetry only we can say that it is going to be 0, because X component over here will be in this direction, whereas X component over here will be in the reverse direction. So both the directions will cancel out each other, and the total effect of force on the X component is going to be 0. X component of F is, you can do the mathematics and finally you can find out it is 0. But actually I can directly say it from the geometry that it is going to be 0. So X component of force is going to be 0. Y component of force will be there, what we have already calculated. So the overall amount of force will be F1, F2 plus Y component of the arc. F1 and F2 we have calculated, and of the arc we have already calculated. So finally I can write out the total amount of force felt by this particular segment containing current I will be equivalent to 2IB L plus R. It is very interesting that it has something to do with I, that is the current, B is the magnetic field, where L is the length of the straight segment and R is the radius of the circular segment. So this is going to be total amount of force felt by this particular wire, which is kept in a uniform magnetic field. Now this holds true for any sort of geometry. If you take any sort of geometry, it can be a straight wire, it can be a curved wire or any other wire, you can apply the same principle, discretize it into small geometries. Just a minute. Hello? Who is this? Yeah, tell me. I have already sent it to in Delhi. I have sent it. Yeah, I purchased new one. Na? So that I sent it. No, I sent it. Why should I have two one? When I already have one. Right. I remember it. Correct. Anyways, fine. Yeah, sure. Yeah, correct. Sorry for the disturbance. This is my last day, but still we are facing many issues. Anyways, so that is the amount of force which you can calculate on a particular object, on a particular geometry, by discretizing the geometry into small segments, and then finally you can find out the force on that particular object. So this is one way you can do it. But I want to show you one more way, that suppose instead of having a straight geometry, we have a closed geometry, then what will happen? What will be the total amount of force felt by a closed geometry? So I want some answers from the audience. What do you feel like? If I have a closed geometry, then what will be the total amount of force on that particular geometry? So any insight, ideas about it? we are talking about magnetic fields. So what will be the total amount of magnetic field which will be felt by a geometry which is closed? In this case, I have this geometry. So from my analogy, I can show you if I have a closed geometry in a magnetic field, the total amount of force felt is going to be 0. So I will show you how it is, step by step. We can calculate the force on the semicircular part. So for semicircular part, we have already done, that is 2IRB. So we have calculated the force, and on the straight path, FC is going to be towards in y direction. X component will be 0. Now what will be the net force at the straight section? That is going to be 1 IL into B. I is the current, L is the segment, and B is the magnetic field. B is the magnetic field, and the force will be towards down. So we can see L is perpendicular to B and L is equivalent to 2R. So Fs is going to be 2IRB. So 2 into I into R into B will be Fs. So if I write the overall force is Fs plus Fc. So Fs and Fc are in reverse direction, and that's why total amount of force will be 0. So this is mathematics, but from analogy, we can always say, suppose I have a circular ring, I have a rectangular loop, or any other type of loop system inside a uniform magnetic field, then the overall force exerted on that particular object should be 0. But that is not true for the case of electric field. If you remember, we have done for circular rings, we have done for concentric rings, we have done for disk and all. We have found out what will be the field, what will be electric force. But in case of magnetic field, we can see for the circular ring, it is going to be 0. So this is true in general for closed loop in a uniform magnetic field. So generally, I can give a statement that whatever circular geometry we have, or we have a closed loop in the vicinity of a magnetic field, then the amount of force exerted on that particular object or that particular loop is going to be 0. The overall force will be always 0. Now, when I say overall force is 0, then what will be, can torque be same or torque will also change? So that is what we have to study in the next segment. So I will try to relate, if force is 0, then whether torque will be 0 for that particular loop or not in a uniform magnetic field. So let me take example of a rectangular loop. So this is a rectangular loop. Please follow the sign convention, direction of current and direction of magnetic field. So I have a rectangular loop which has 0 thickness, width is W, length is L. E is the magnetic field which is in this particular direction. I is the current and orientation of current is like this. We already said that net force is going to be 0. Right? So currents in left and right wires are equal and opposite, as you can see. Magnetic force on left and right wires are equal and opposite. So they goes to 0. Same for top and bottom. So the actual amount of force will be 0. Because current here, as you can see, current here will be opposite to the current over here, direction will be different. And because of this, the overall amount of force is going to be cancelled for this and this. Similar goes for top and bottom, because direction of current will be reversed, and the total amount of force in this loop also will be 0. That I can say from the analogy. But what will happen to the, so this is what I was saying, you can discretize the loop into small segments, and then you can also find out. That is also very true. If I have some other geometry, then we can do the decomposition like this, the small pieces. But finally, the end product is going to be having a net force of 0 over a closed geometry we have in a uniform magnetic field. Okay. So that is what our understanding is. Net magnetic force on any closed current loop is 0. So this is very important to understand. There will be no force on this. But contrary to electric field have huge amount of force, but magnetic field have zero. That is, we can prove it from mathematical point of view, or we can simply say from the analogy point of view. But what will happen to the torque on that current loop? Torque always has some sort of rotational effect. I have given you understanding of a torque when we were discussing about electric dipole, and we say what will be the amount of torque on those electric dipoles. We have already done this. So the same we will do for this particular loop, and these loops are known as magnetic dipoles. I will show you how it is step by step, and let us see what will be the torque on current loops. We call them as magnetic dipoles. Right. So no force on the top and bottom segments because current and magnetic field are parallel. So we will have no force over here, no force over here because current, this length and this magnetic field are parallel, and sine 0 becomes 0. That is one understanding. Left vertical segment feels force out of the page. So this is how it will feel force, and the right will feel inside. So horizontal sections will have no force because B and length are in the same parallel lines, and sine theta is going to be 0. That's why the amount of force will cancel out and they will be having 0 force. But if we look in the individual sections, like for this and for this, so length, left length and right length, we will have force in opposite direction because direction of current is opposite. So FL will be coming outward, FR will be going inward. So these two forces will be there, which will exist, but they will cancel out each other because you know they have negative polarity. The two forces have the same magnitude, ILB, but different direction. So if you sum up the forces, the entire amount of force, net force will be 0. But there will be force which have equal magnitude. Because FL and FR in opposite direction, there is no net force on the current loop, but there is the net torque. Net torque means we will have a rotational effect against the geometry. We will have this central axis. Because of that central axis, I will have some amount of torque. Now let us try to calculate the torque. Right. If I take torque from this center geometry, because of this rotational effect will be there, and torque is given by W by D. This is the distance. Fr is the force experienced by the right, and Fl is the force experienced by the left point and right point. The torque at the right point is this over here. Torque over left point is over here. So I can write it as W. W is the distance over here. And from this point to this point is the distance W. Half is going to be W by 2. And theta is the angle which it makes when this loop is rotating. So net torque, I can write it as Wi, where W is the width, I is the current, L is the length, D is the magnetic field, uniform magnetic field, and sine theta, theta is the angle which it makes it. So the net torque will be I A cross B, where A is the area of the loop and B is the magnetic field in which it is. So this is very interesting that even though a closed loop, in this case we have considered a rectangular loop, we can consider a circular loop, elliptical loop, or any other form of loop. It is very interesting to show you that net force will be 0. But this particular current carrying filament will have rotational effect. So this rotational effect is very important, and this rotational effect is used in DC motors, AC motors, galvanometers, and n number of applications are there. Because of this torque and because of motion of this torque, there will be rotational motion. So torque will be given in terms of current, area, and magnetic field. And this particular thing is known as a magnetic dipole. So we define magnetic moment of a loop as mu, which is nothing but I into A. So IA, that is current into area, is known as magnetic moment of this loop. I can now replace torque as magnetic moment into magnetic. So this is just transposing of the term. If you know the current, you know the area, why should I write magnetic moment? I can straight away write in the equation of current, that is I into A into B will give you torque. Otherwise, if you know the magnetic moment of the loop, then straight away you can write it as magnetic moment into B, that is the cross product. Theta is very important. If theta is 0, then it goes to 0, the torque will be 0. But if theta is 90, then the torque will be maximum. These some cases we must understand. So you have a starting equation, this is mu, that is magnetic moment. Magnetic moment is given with respect to N. N is the number of turns, I is the current, and A is the area. Generally, for this example, we have considered only one loop. There can be many loops, suppose 200 loops are there. Then the moment will be multiplied by 200. Current loop acts as a magnetic dipole similar to bar magnet. That was I was saying. So this was the concept of magnetic dipoles. Electric dipoles, we know torque equals to P into E. In this case, we have magnetic dipoles, which is equivalent to electric moment and more magnetic moment. So these equations are similar in terms of energy, in terms of torque, but the difference is in case of electric field, we discuss about electric moment. In case of magnetic dipole, we call about magnetic moment. So we have the values. I hope that you have the formulas. You can do mathematics for each part. I will give you one example how to solve it. So we have a magnetic dipole of moment mu in a uniform magnetic field. So the first part is, under what condition is the dipole's potential energy is 0? So let us see when potential energy is going to be 0. So this is your dipole. It is kept in this first session, sin theta is this. So potential energy is given by mu into B. So mu is IA into B, IA dot B cos theta. So potential energy to be 0, cos theta should be 0. And when cos theta will be 0, then theta will be 90 degree or 270 degree. So for potential energy to be 0, our theta should be 90 degree or 270 degree. So these are the conditions. Either it is 90 or 270. Then only we will have 0 potential for a magnetic dipole. Now second part, when it will be minimum. For the case of minimum, potential energy will be minimum, then cos theta will be equivalent to 1, because this is negative. So negative means minimum. So cos theta will be 1 when theta is going to be 0. Please discard it. It should not be 180 because cos theta will be minus 180. So it should be theta should be 0 for finding out this thing. So this is the condition when potential energy will be minimum. Now the next part is, under what condition is the magnitude of the torque on the dipole minimum? So you know the definition of torque. Torque is this, sin theta is minimum when this moment torque magnitude is minimum when sin theta is 0. So theta can be 0 or 180. So these results you can deduce. This is the condition of the monopole when you have torque as minimum. And for maximum, you can again have sin theta equals to 1. So we will have theta equals to 90 degree or 270 degree for this to be maximum. So this is the condition. Now you can also relate it with opposite dipoles. How to find out with different dipoles what will be the amount of energy, calculation with respect to electric field, with respect to magnetic field, with respect to moment of magnetic field, and vice versa. So I hope I was being quick in this particular example because it is very simple. You have to just think from the point of view of theta in terms of sin theta, cos theta, and vice versa. And I hope you are capable enough to do the math. So finally, I will give you some applications, and then it will be end for this session. So as I was saying, application part, there is a galvanometer, which is the most important application of magnetic field or magnetic dipole. So what will happen? Dipole will move inside a galvanometer, which will show you the amount of current. Then we have electric motors. There can be AC motors, there can be DC motors, and they can move. This coil will move, and this motion of coil can be used everywhere. So that was the next application. And then we can have the last application, what I have to discuss. What I generally recommend, that no lecture on magnetic force would be complete without this, the railgun. Railgun is very important, as I was saying. This is our future. Weapon technology will be working on railguns in coming future. If I recall, Hitler used to make some railguns and try to place trajectory at a very large distance. It was the pet project of Hitler in World War II, where he started this concept of railgun, and gradually scientists across the globe tried to develop different railguns. So it has loops, as you can see. It has magnetic loops. There are the loops. We pass current through it, and there will be force in this direction. And this force is going to be very, very large. And this larger force can eject an object. It can be a bullet, it can be a larger object, a conductor, it can be a spacecraft or anything, depending upon the size of the railgun. And this railgun will serve the purpose of launching the satellites, launching extraterrestrial objects, and vice versa in coming. So if you want to read about detail on the railguns, please search the internet and you can find out what are the various applications of the railgun. I feel that important application of magnetic force is the railgun. Railgun will be useful in the coming future in many ways. Even we cannot imagine what type of applications of railguns. The 10-meter railgun is at the University of Texas. You can visit to the site of University of Texas and you can find out what type of railgun they have, what are the various projectiles they have tested upon, and what are their future plans. So these were the applications of magnetic field, and there's much to be taught. As I know, we can cover many other aspects of magnetostatics. We have covered many aspects of electrostatics. We have to combine electrostatics and magnetostatics, and we have to discuss about the fundamental laws of electromagnetic fields and vice versa. If time permits, some other time we will continue with this. For time being, that's all from my side. If you have any questions, please pop up your questions. I hope the concept what you have learned is clear. If you have any issues, I recommend you can drop me a mail, or you can give me a mail, or you can contact me on my given details. You can refer to my web page for my updates regarding my research and all. So any questions?
Sir,
yes,
sir, one question. Which books are very best for the EMT, sir?
See, I recommend, if you are, there are two aspects of EMT. First aspect is from research point of view, or you are referring from teaching point of view. From research point of view, I have a book known as R.F. Harrington, Advanced Electromagnetics. That is the best book. Anyone should refer to that book for research point of view. Otherwise, for undergraduate level, you can refer to this 8. You can refer, that is a good book. Otherwise, Ozar also have covered much part of electromagnetics. That is also very good. You can refer to that book.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more request, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, your slides share with me, sir.
okay, slides, I will share. To drop me a mail on this, my email ID, I will share it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, sure, I will do it. Further questions? Otherwise, that's all from my side. And keep well, everyone. Be safe from Corona, because of Corona, so many things are going on nowadays.
Same to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, fine, great.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.